I'm going to be showing you my technique for replacing leg elastic on BumGenius one-size pocket diapers. I believe you can apply the same technique for their all-in-one diapers, as their all-in-one diapers have a pocket, so you can easily access the elastic, except for the extra smaller newborn diaper, which does not have the pocket. So what I use for this is the BumGenius Fix-It kits, which you can get at Cotton Baby's website for $1. However, I think if your diaper is still under warranty, or if you're the original owner, I believe they'll just send some out to you for free. So it's got 3 elastics, as well as the laundry tabs and the side tabs. So this is, for the back elastic, and then one for each leg. And then you're going to want a seam ripper and a couple safety pins and a paper clip. And I will show you how I use all those later. Now the other thing you're going to need is a diaper. So this one I've already started to fix the elastic, and I've already done one leg, and I'm hoping you can tell which one it is, but if you can't, it's this one. So I'm going to show you how to replace this elastic. Also, I've already done the back elastic on this diaper, as you can see, nice and springy. I've also rehabbed this diaper. I put the new laundry and side tabs on this particular diaper, again using the Cotton Baby's Fix-It kit. And I also put on a new loop strip on the front, and you can buy this. This particular brand is Aplix. There's also a touch tape that you can just find in particular retailers online. The tip I would have is, if you're going to completely rehab your entire diaper, do these side tabs last, as it makes it so much easier to turn the diaper inside out to the back elastic without these on. So that's my tip of the day. Okay, so I'm going to have to show you on a different diaper how to open the leg casing. I was having some problems with my recorder. So what you're going to want to do is find where the end of the elastic is tacked down, and there's a little bump there. Some tutorials I've read recommend, ripping out the stitches on this side, but I actually don't like to do that because I think there's a higher risk of ripping the PUL. So I just sort of put my finger where that bump is, turn it inside out, and if you get lucky, you'll see some diapers, the way they're constructed, actually have a piece of elastic poking out. That does not seem to be the case for this one. Let me look on the other side. Well, there, sort of. You can kind of see it, barely. So there's a little itty-bitty piece of elastic sticking out there, so that's a good indicator. That's where you might want to start ripping the seam open. So again, the diaper is turned and top stitched, and so we need to get rid of this top stitching that's keeping the 2 layers together. So when you turn the diaper inside out, you should easily be able to see the stitches that you need to rip, just so that you can open up the leg casing. So you want to get as much of it open as you can. I just like to open it wide so I've got plenty of room to work with. And see here, you can see the elastic that we need to replace. And so it's tacked down on the end. And again, just rip as much of the stitching away so that you can lay your pieces nice and flat when you go to tack the elastic on. So I'm just kind of getting rid of as much as I can here. Okay, so here we go on the green one again. As you see, I've opened up that leg casing nice and wide. Here's your elastic, and so now what we need to do is unpick the elastic off of the diaper. And so you'll see usually there's 2 rows of nice neat stitching that you need to sort of pick off. I have noticed on the 2.0s usually there's just a whole mess of stitching, and it's actually a little more difficult to get it off. So in that case, what I've done is actually cut the elastic as close to the stitching as I can, and then just try to cut the rest of that little nub off that's left. It's not the most beautiful solution in the world, but sometimes Desperate times call for desperate measures. So again, just you're gonna want to pick all the stitching off and turn it on the back and get rid of that, just to clean it up as much as you can. And voila, here is my elastic, been picked off there. So I've got a free end now, so I like to just kind of put a paper clip there, safety pin there temporarily, so that I don't lose the elastic in the casing, because we're going to use this existing piece of elastic to feed the new piece of elastic through the casing to the other side. Usually it works. Okay, now that everything's removed, we can go ahead and sew on the new elastic. So, ta-da, here it is. And what I like to do, which might be a little weird, is to position it. Well, obviously you're going to position it over where the stitching was. I like to take a paper clip and actually use it to hold the elastic in place. And it does a couple things. It holds the elastic in place, and it also helps to make sure that this I don't know if it's vinyl piece that covers the snaps, but it also helps to keep everything sort of out of the seam. So what doesn't happen is you sew it like this. So it just happened to me in the past before I adopted this method. So I want to avoid that by pushing all the layers down and away as much as possible. So I will show you that. So here you go. Here's the paper clip. And that sort of also helps me guide it in my sewing machine, as it can be a little difficult to maneuver it. Get the presser foot right on down there, and away we go. And then we're going to back stitch, just kind of go back and forth, back and forth. There you go. Just take it off, and now you have a tacked on piece of elastic. And then what I will do is do a second row stitching a little closer to the edge, just for safety's sake. Guess if you wanted to, you could use the paper clip again, but sometimes it's just easier now that you actually have it tacked down to put it under. There you go. Alright, so now this is where the safety pin comes in handy. So I've got the new piece of elastic on. I need to get it through the casing to the other side. So I will use my my safety pin. And I kind of double up on this end because sometimes it rips out of there, which isn't the end of the world, but I'd say this has about a 60 to 70% success rate of actually being able to pull it through with the safety pin, because sometimes, again, it just kind of rips out of there. So attach the new piece of elastic to the existing piece of elastic, feed the safety pin into the leg casing, and then find the elastic on the other side. And if all goes well, I gotta stuff that in there a little bit more. Okay, now if all goes well, you just pull, pull, pull. Whoops. And out pops the safety pin. Yay! And there's your other end of elastic. Alright, so now I've gotten it through to the other side. Kind of pull it out a little bit, and what I like to do, which you don't really have to, but is take your other safety pin and I just fasten it to the seam temporarily so that it doesn't go back into the leg casing while I work on removing the elastic from this side. So same technique obviously is if you want to use the paper clip to tack it on while you sew it. Usually just helps to keep it in place. And so again, you can just do the exact same thing on this side. Now if you were really fancy, you would find thread to match the PUL. I'm not fancy, so I'm just going to use white thread, but you would, put the colored thread on the top and put the white thread in your bobbin and stitch. But again, I'm not fancy. So anyway, what we're going to do is you're just going to follow the top stitching. You can kind of see it. Now when you get to the elastic part, you're actually going to want to stretch it so that it's nice and flat. So again, you can sort of see where the top stitching was, and I'm just going to go over that. Maybe it's better if I turn the light off. I'm just going to go over that seam to close it up. Again, sort of stretching the elastic as you go so it's nice and flat. And there you have it. I wanted to sort of show you the difference in the 4.0, sort of an improvement that BumGenius made in this new version. So you see, they stopped the top stitching at the end of the elastic. So you'll see there's a gap in the top stitching here. And so they did that so you wouldn't have to rip the leg casing open when you wanted to replace the elastic. So you turn it inside out, you'll see there it is poking out right there. And so all you need to do is just start from taking the elastic off and sewing the new piece back on, thread it through, and do the same to the other side. And so there is no ripping of the seams required, nor is there any top stitching once you've done the elastic replacement that's required either. So that's one improvement in the new 4.0.